Hello and welcome to another one of these ADD videos. Today we're going to be looking at reaction rate law from experimental data. So as the title implies, you can calculate the rate law of a reaction by looking at experimental data. The general rate law is as follows. Rate equals some rate constant times A raised to the x plus B raised to the y. You cannot write the coefficients as x and y unless it's the rate determining step, the slowest step, or an elementary process. Here we have a sample set of experimental data that we can use to find out what x and y are. Once we know what x and y are, we do this by setting ratios, and we solve for x and y. Then we can plug in either experimental data for 1, 2, or 3 and solve for k. So if I'm trying to find out what x is the exponent of a. I look for two experimental lines where b is a constant. And then what I do is I set a ratio of the concentrations of A, so in this case 4 over 2, and then set a ratio of their rates. It'll be 4 over 2 raised to the n equals 16 times 10 to the negative 2 over 4 times 10 to the negative 2. When you do that, you can solve for x. By the same logic, you can find out what b is by looking at you can find out what y is by looking at where a is constant and doing ratios from there. Okay, so a is constant in experiments 1 and 2, so you would do 8 over 4 all raised to the n equals 4 over 1, 4 times 10 to the negative 2 over 1 times 10 to the negative 2. And then we could figure out what x and y are. At that point, once we do that, we can either plug in 2 for A, 4 for B, and this rate for that equation right here, the rate equation, or 2, 8, and this rate, or 4, 8, and that rate. They all should give you the same value for K. Then once you got K, you got your overall rate equation, the rate law. Alright? It'll make more sense when you see it in action. This is just the concept video. I just want to touch on it briefly so you understand how to do it. So let's recap one more time. You look at this experimental data. If I'm looking for x, I look at where b is constant because x is a's exponent. You look at the other one being constant, and then do a ratio. You're going to do a ratio of b was constant in experiments 2 and 3. So you would do 4 over 2 all raised to the n equals 16 times 10 to the negative 2 over 4 times 10 to the negative 2. That'll give you x. And then for y, you would do the same thing, but looking at where a is constant. So you would do 8 over 4 all raised to the n, or to the y, and then do a ratio of these two rates. Alright? Once you got that, plug in any three to get what k is. That's basically it. Make sure you check out the example videos for this in action. I'll probably just do this example right here. Practice, 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 the most important part. Thank you and have a nice day.